She thought she was clever, cheating customers one small amount at a time. But in a single day, the universe taught her a lesson she would never forget. In a bustling market town where people came from villages near and far to trade, there was a woman named Fatima who sold rice and beans. Her store was in the best location, right at the market entrance where everyone passed by. She had been trading there for 15 years, and she was known as one of the most successful merchants in the market. But Fatima had a secret. She had 2 scales. One was honest, with accurate weights. This scale she kept visible on her table where customers could see it. But she had another scale, hidden beneath her table, that she had modified. This scale was designed to cheat. When measuring goods to sell, it showed more weight than was actually there, so customers paid for more than they received. When buying goods from farmers, it showed less weight, so she paid farmers less than their goods were worth. Every day, Fatima would use her tricks. A farmer would bring a bag of rice to sell. Fatima would weigh it on her false scale and say, "This is only 45 kilos. I'll give you payment for 45 kilos. But the bag actually contained 50 kilos, she had stolen 5 kilos worth of value from the farmer. Then, when a customer came to buy rice, she would measure out what looked like 5 kilos, but was actually only 4.5 kilos. That would be the price for 5 kilos, she would say, pocketing the extra money. Small cheats, done many times a day, added up to big profits. Fatima grew wealthy while the farmers stayed poor and the customers wondered why their rice never seemed to last as long as it should. "I'm just a smart businesswoman," Fatima would tell herself. "Everyone cheats a little. This is just how business works." She built a big house on the edge of town. She bought gold jewelry. She sent her children to the best schools in the city. Her husband praised her business skills. Everyone in the market envied her success. But there was one person who watched Fatima with different eyes, an old woman named Mama Khadija who sold vegetables in the corner of the market. Mama Khadija had been in the market longer than anyone could remember. Some people said she was as old as the baobab tree in the town square. Others said she had been there since the market was founded. Mama Khadija never said much, but she saw everything. She saw Fatima's false scale. She saw the quick switches. She saw the farmers' confused faces and the customers' disappointment. But she said nothing. She just watched and waited. One morning, Fatima woke up feeling strange. She couldn't explain it, a heaviness in her chest, a tingling in her fingers, a sense that something was different about the day. She went to the market as usual, set up her store, and arranged her 2 scales, the false one hidden below, the real one visible above. Her first customer was a young woman with a baby tied to her back. "I need 5 kilos of rice," the woman said, counting out her money carefully. "This is all I have for my family this week." Fatima smiled and began to measure. She used her false scale, giving the woman only 4.5 kilos while charging for 5. As she handed over the bag, something strange happened. Before we continue, please take a moment to like, comment and subscribe to my channel, Storyline Haven. Thank you. The bag of rice felt heavier than it should. Confused, Fatima looked down at her hand. It was shaking. But not just shaking, shrinking as well. Right before her eyes, her hand became smaller. Not much, just a little. Maybe the size of half a kilo of rice. Fatima gasped and pulled her hand back. She looked at it closely. It looked normal now. Had she imagined it? The young woman took her rice and left, and Fatima tried to shake off the strange feeling. Her next customer was a farmer who had brought beans to sell. "I need you to weigh these beans," the old farmer said. "I harvested them yesterday." Fatima weighed the beans on her false scale. "These are only 20 kilos, she said, though they were actually 25. "I'll give you payment for 20 kilos. The farmer looked disappointed but accepted the payment. He needed the money, even if it seemed less than he expected. As Fatima handed over the coins, it happened again. This time, her arm shrunk. Not much, maybe the length of 5 kilos of beans. She stared at her arm in horror. It looked shorter, thinner. She stumbled backward, knocking over a basket. Her heart pounded. What was happening to her? Throughout the morning, it continued. Every time she cheated someone, a part of her body shrunk by exactly the amount she had stolen. A customer paid for 3 kilos but got 2.5. Her leg shrunk by the weight of half a kilo. A farmer brought grain and she underpaid by 2 kilos. Her other leg shrunk. By midday, Fatima was visibly smaller. Her clothes hung loosely on her shrinking frame. She was maybe 3/4 of her normal size now. People in the market started to notice. "Fatima, are you alright?" another merchant asked. "You look smaller." "I'm fine." Fatima snapped, but panic was rising in her throat. She looked down at her body. Her arms were short, her legs were stubby, her torso had compressed. She was shrinking away, piece by piece, in proportion to what she had stolen. Terrified, she packed up her goods and tried to run home. But her short legs couldn't carry her fast. She stumbled through the market, past the staring crowds, and the whispering voices. And then she heard a mockery laughter. Mama Khadija sat at her vegetable stall, watching Fatima struggle past. "Help me!" Fatima cried, falling at the old woman's feet. "Something is wrong with me. I'm shrinking." "Are you?" Mama Khadija said calmly. "Or are you finally becoming the size of your character?" Fatima looked up at her, tears streaming down her face. "What? You've been stealing from people for 15 years, Mama Khadija said. Every false weight, every cheated measure, every dishonest trade, you've been taking pieces of their lives. Pieces of the food that would feed their children. Pieces of the money they needed for medicine. Pieces of the dignity they earned through their hard work. Now, the universe is taking pieces of you. But I have to feed my family." Fatima protested. "So does everyone else," Mama Khadija replied. "The young mother who bought rice from you this morning, she has to feed her baby. The old farmer you cheated on his beans, he has grandchildren to care for. Did you think about their families when you stole from them?" Fatima had no answer. She looked at her shrunken hands, her short arms, her small body. She was perhaps half her normal size now. "Please," she begged. "How do I stop this? How do I reverse it?" Mama Khadija was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "There is only one way. You must give back what you've taken. Every false weight must be balanced. Every cheat must be corrected. Every stolen measure must be returned." "But that's impossible," Fatima cried. "I've cheated hundreds of people over 15 years. I don't even remember all of them. And I've spent the money, I don't have it all anymore." "Then you will keep shrinking," Mama Khadija said simply. "Until there's nothing left of you but a grain of rice. That's what happens when we take and take and take without giving back. We become smaller and smaller until we disappear entirely." Fatima sat in the dirt of the market, her oversized clothes pulling around her tiny body, and wept. She wept for her greed. She wept for the people she had cheated. She wept for the person she had become. But then, slowly, she stopped crying. She stood up on her short legs and made a decision. "I'll do it," she said. "I'll give it back. All of it." She went back to her stall and retrieved her false scale. In the middle of the market, in front of everyone, she smashed it with a rock. The merchants and customers gathered around to watch. "For 15 years, I've been cheating you," Fatima announced, her small voice barely carrying over the crowd. "I used a false scale. I stole from farmers who brought goods to sell. I stole from mothers buying food for their families. I stole from all of you. And I'm sorry. The crowd murmured. Some were angry. Some were shocked. Some had suspected all along. I don't have all the money to pay everyone back right now, Fatima continued. But I will make it right. Starting today, I'm giving away all my goods at half price. All my rice, all my beans, everything, half price until it's gone. That's my first payment back to you. Then I'll sell my gold jewelry and distribute that money. Then my furniture. Then everything I have, until I've given back as much as I can. She looked at the crowd, her tiny face earnest. I know it won't be enough. I know some of you I'll never find again. But I swear on my children's lives, I will spend the rest of my days making this right. Something shifted in the air. Fatima felt a warmth spread through her body. She looked down at her hands, they were growing. Slowly, bit by bit, she was returning to her normal size. It's working, Mama Khadija said from her corner. Restitution begins restoration. By the end of that day, Fatima had given away most of her goods. She was exhausted, humbled, and significantly poorer. But she was almost full size again. Almost, but not quite. She remained slightly smaller than she had been, maybe 90% of her original height. Why am I not completely back to normal? She asked Mama Khadija as the market closed for the day. Because you haven't finished making restitution, the old woman replied. And perhaps because you needed a permanent reminder. Every time you look in a mirror, you remember what greed cost you. You remember that we become smaller when we take from others to make ourselves bigger. Fatima nodded. She understood. The next weeks and months were hard. She sold her big house and moved to a small room. She sold her gold and distributed the money to farmers she had cheated. She worked honestly, using only accurate scales, and her profits were much smaller than before. Her husband left her, angry that she had given away their wealth. Her children had to leave their expensive schools. But something unexpected happened. As she gave back, as she worked honestly, as she looked people in the eye without guilt, she felt lighter. Freer. Happier than she had been in 15 years. Farmers began to trust her again. Customers returned. She built a new business based on honesty, and while it grew slowly, it grew on solid ground. Years later, a young merchant approached Fatima's stall. I hear you sell the most accurate measures in the market, the young woman said. I'm starting my own business. Can you teach me? Fatima smiled. She was still slightly shorter than average, a permanent reminder of her past. Yes, I can teach you. But first, let me tell you a story about two scales and what I learned about the real weight of dishonesty. And so the story teaches, what we take from others, we lose from ourselves. Not immediately, not in ways we can always see, but eventually, the universe balances the scales. Dishonesty makes us smaller, smaller in character, smaller in spirit, smaller in the eyes of those who matter. You cannot build real wealth on stolen ground. You cannot grow tall by cutting others down. You cannot become more by making others less. The scales of life are more accurate than any merchant's balance. They weigh not just gold and grain, but character and consequence. And eventually, always, they tip toward truth. If you've taken what wasn't yours to take, there is still time to make it right. Restitution is hard, humbling work. It costs everything you've gained dishonestly and more. But it returns something more valuable than wealth. It returns your true size, your real self, the person you were meant to be before greed shrank you down. An honest life may be harder, slower, less profitable in the short term. But it builds something that lasts. And at the end of each day, you can stand at your full height, look yourself in the mirror, and recognize the person looking back. That's worth more than all the false weights in the world.